Hang in, I'm doing this again. I'm trying to put it on the stand. Yeah, I got up on the stand. I'm going to stop apologizing, I hope, because I'm not getting paid for this. I've been through hell, and I know there's those on there that do nothing but badmouth, and I'm sorry. I seriously am. I'm going to say that now. I've had a gut full, because I do think this is going to be told, and I so hope so. And then all these people who have been nasty, not just now, some nasties. I'm talking about that have been around me here in Huntsville, in Atlanta, when we begged and told this. Why is your media not telling it? Why is your government not telling it? Why am I on here telling it? So, sometimes I wonder. I want to get into this, though, because there's a few souls in this world that are interested in care. I want to say this about one of them, Julian Assange, one of the bravest, well-intended. He told the truth, and look at the hell he's gone through. And look at Snowden, exiled to Russia. There's been a lot of other whistleblowers, and I'm going to get off this right now and get to the point. Right now I'm breaking out in some kind of hives. I don't know what it is. So anyway, one thing is I've been on this videoing 5 to 6 times a day until the last year, perhaps, since August the 3rd of 2013. Prior to that, a year prior, well, a little more than a year, I put it up on YouTube. I started putting it up on YouTube. So I've been on here and a lot. I'm not getting paid for it. I told about my name. I'd like to have that back and clear my father's name and have back what's mine and save my children. I hope they're alive and well. So there's been some good people, but basically people have said to me, I don't care. I don't want to know. But I've also had them, here's one of them that I remember specifically. And remember, this is one-on-one a lot of the times, most of the time. So it's only me hearing it. So who am I? So yeah, I'm the Queen of England, and they believe it and know it. And they know about the mind control murders. But I'm getting whipped up on and beat up, so it can't hurt to mouth off at me some more and say you don't care, because I can't do anything. Well, I learn, I hope. Anyway, that's my sermon, I guess, if that's what it's supposed to be or something. Now let me see if I can get back to where I was going. It would be nice for some of this to have been videoed where it's reality TV, a reality where it's really happened. They're able to show what, like some people really are, and some good souls, and let them get credit for it. Now, before my video goes off here, and I've taken all this time up on it, I thought I had it set on 30 minutes, and I do, but that's not what it's doing. It's doing 19, and now I've taken up all this time. This person, there's some people that have come on here on YouTube and otherwise, and I don't want to cause them pain because they're good guys. And they seem to know and care, just like Assange. And there used to be Anonymous that was on there. Some of these that have tried to tell the truth about what's going on. I remember back. Okay, who was Elizabeth Taylor was married to what was his name? Not Wilding. Who was the producer that died in a plane crash? Which you get into some things about plane crashes, the pilots being programmed going down. But anyway, she was married to the one Michael. I can't remember his name. Anyway, after he died, she was supposed to really have been in love with him. After he died in the plane crash, his son, anyway, his son came out, and this had to have been, I know when it was 1960. I know where I was when I first heard about it. So it was about 1960, I think it was, because it was out in, well, anyway, 61 it might have been in the summer. Anyway, they were talking about this Elizabeth Taylor, her husband that died, had a son. He was a producer, and his son became a producer, although I haven't heard of him since much. But he had invented something that it was called smell-o-vision. And you could actually, they had some device like subliminal. They can tell you, well, that's easy enough to do. They can hypnotize you and tell you to smell something or see something that's not even there. They can tell, I've seen it done on TV. Other than that, I mean, that's well known. And then you get into the depth of mind control and chipping people, and you talk about civil rights violation. You don't hear any of these huge civil rights groups saying anything about this that I know of. In fact, when I've left information for them, it's been picked up. They show a badge or something and they pick it up. Just like back in Atlanta when I was in the campaign for U.S. Congress in 83. Was that one it was? No. Well, that was one time, but here, I interviewed for a job here. I won't get into the other because I'm getting off course here. My jobs were shut down. I left resumes at places, and I found out, wow, yeah, more than one time later, that after I left, they'd come in, there'd be, I guess they showed badges, they would come in and asked for my resume I left, and they'd pick it up. By the way, there was one it was a nursing home back then. I was out there with another lady visiting her parent. And one of the nurses knew about me and everything. She said, we would hire you, but they won't let us. So anyway, won't let them. I mean, this whole thing has been bypassed and dismissed. And anyway, now then back to this. They can, with hypnosis, just hypnosis, they can make you think you're seeing your boyfriend. That was done that I saw. And the girl went up and hugged this big lamppost, just loving it and kissing it. And this was on the street, one of them. So it's very scary, especially when it's in the hands of a professional and when it's done with signals and somebody wants to tell you you're crazy for telling the truth because they're afraid of the technology and just want to dismiss it, so they're not called to do something about it. And that doesn't mean going against the one person telling you the truth. I do know this from way back, too, in 76, when I found out the guy knocked at my door. I'd moved into Treetop in Atlanta, Marietta. And the guy that moved in next door to me, and then lo and behold, he wasn't there anymore. But there was a newscaster had lived in the apartment I rented just prior to me. So you get into like a game of chess, or lack of a better word or something. Anyway, he knocked at my door. Looking back, I wouldn't let him in now, knowing all the stuff I know now. But anyway, I trusted him. It was a nice complex, and I let him in. He asked to use my phone, and then he said, because he was just moving in, he said he wanted to show me something in his room, in his apartment. He might have said something about knowing I was doing the book. I don't know, remember. Anyway, I wouldn't do this now. I wouldn't walk into his apartment. It was right by mine. he showed me where they had a ham set up against the wall. And, well, you don't have it against, it doesn't matter if it's against my wall or where. Ham sets, they say in the end times, is all you'll be able to use to connect from far away if you've got a ham set. Okay, so they're very important. And the job I had out of high school, bookkeeping for 1 year till I was married, it was a curl wholesale company, and they sold, I did payroll bookkeeping. So they had all kinds of stuff. I remember it was Webcore TV, Webcore this and that, and they had the ham sets and all these things that go on your radios and all this stuff, and radio stations and batteries and all this. Anyway, he showed me the ham set, and it fit in to what I was trying to tell, that they can use a ham set and teach you at a low level you're not aware you're getting. Like the dog whistle, dog can hear it and its ears will fly up. You can't, they can hear it, but you can't. So they've been doing this a long time. It was the Tesla files. And I was writing about them. That was 1930 when they were stolen. And you can cure an illness or create it, or you can use mind control. This is where you use it with signals. They don't know they're getting it. It used to be on the elevators. This was one of them where they played music and they could do it that way. But people don't want to hear it because Edward Snowden just touched a bit of it. And then they tried to silence Julian Assange. And so help me God, I hope there's a God that helps and rewards this man, Julian Assange, for the good kindness he's done instead of the lies that are thrown at him. It upsets the heck out of me. Anyway, okay, back to this. And I'm going to make this short because you don't hear about this that I'm aware of anywhere else. I haven't tuned into the channels on TV that tell about mind control and all that. But I know that it's done at frequencies, and they've been chipping people for a long, long time. And then it's so easy for people because they don't care. They're as guilty as anybody else. When they can dismiss it and try to tell you and use a crazy word on you when you've done nothing but try to help them tell the truth. And I wonder, what if one of those got up one day that's been so nasty throughout my life, really, but recently again, if they got up, or their son or child got up and went out and committed mass murders, and they were trying to get their child off, and what they'd think about this if they knew their child had been chipped and programmed. So you don't even know it. And if you went to your doctors, why aren't you hearing about this from your doctors, from your so-called pros that with your agents? Just let me put it that way. When some of these murders happen, like the one in Las Vegas, where you keep horses. I can't think of the name of it now. It's his last name, starts with a P. Anyway, they had him chipped. He didn't know he was going to do that. He couldn't have stopped it, and people don't want to believe it, so therefore it keeps on going. And it's not just trigger words. It's behavior modification. They override, and this thing of they can't make you do what you don't want to do is friggin' lie, and people have bought it. Yeah, and this is true about the gang stalking and about sounds and all this used to drive people bananas. And then the mental health has been the fall guy for all this for them to get away with it. Now then, I wonder how many people have been programmed. And they hear it, but they don't hear it. They don't have to actually hear the voice. It's done at such a level And my God, I don't know the ins and out of all this, but I know it's going on and how it's done to a degree. A lot of people have been locked up and called paranoid and fed psychotic drugs that are so illegal, and they're being used. I wonder how many people are in institutions today that this has been done to. It's one of the most hideous crimes you can come up with, that they have heard someone saying this is God, etc., etc., and if they tried to tell it, they get locked up. This has been going a long time. MK Ultra was called in I don't know if it's 53 or 63 to Congress, and I know this is going to go off, and I need to just stop and get away from it because I've got hives or something all over me. I don't know, but like I've been around poison oak or something. And part of it is I've been on here quite a bit too, and I probably need to give myself a break. It's so disturbing to know that it's going on, and some people care. Most people are flippant and just they're mean. There's no other word for it. They're cruel. So I don't know, I don't have any pity for them. Let them have at them. If they can be like that, well, if they would tell this, and your congressman, they've got you people, the Illuminati press that never told about me or my dad or any of this. The press is so controlled. And Nancy Pelosi is one of them that I cannot stand, the woman. She is manipulative, and if all you have to do is look at how many cameras are focused on her, you'd think she was the president. And if Trump says anything back to her on his own behalf, answers her, the press slaughters him and gives her this leeway here. You'd think she was president. It makes me sick. It really does. If you can't see beyond it, I don't know. And Congress has always known about my kidnapping, all this. They know about mind control. They know all of it. Yet they have not once spoken about it. I've been in the Richard Russell building back in '82, carrying this whole stuff with things done to me that I hope the world has to see, the horror, and then see the people that followed up that laughed and didn't care what happened to me. I actually fell down in the halls of Congress trying to tell about it. And anyway, I was told not to go in Tip O'Neill's office. For sure, stay away from it. Now, I was going to go and say something else. The murders I've told about were done by that, done in patterns. And yes, a lot of them can be, if you ever get it out there, you can show the connection. It's not like something you just read off the billboard and that's it. But you can see it. Well, there are a few of them that are that way. You can look at them and know something that it's true. But you can't get your press to print it. The local people all know it, and I'm probably going into a blank tape now. Let me say this, if I still can, if there's some tape left on here, time. A few years back, there was a lady I ran into. She knew I was there, and she was from Canada. No, excuse me. Her husband was Canadian. And he had moved to Huntsville, and they